Hey everybody. Okay, welcome to episode 2 of my new series, Curiosity. So in this episode, we're going to talk about what happens when you die. What happens, in the afterlife. Is there an afterlife? So I've been watching a lot of content lately in regards to the afterlife. It's a subject matter that really does interest me quite a bit. And there is this neurosurgeon. He was a brain surgeon named Eben Alexander. Okay, and Eben as a neurosurgeon was very science-based, right? He believed that consciousness and all your awareness comes from your brain. So when you die, you die. That's it. There's nothing else after that. Well, he had that mentality until he died, essentially, or until he was in a coma. Okay, so Eben came down with a rare form of like bacterial meningitis, and it put him in a coma for I think it was like a week or something like that. And he kind of explains his experience during that coma, and it's fascinating. Essentially, what happened was he didn't just die. It wasn't like it was this emptiness. Okay, he went through an extraordinary odyssey, an adventure of sorts, that he says, as a brain surgeon, that he shouldn't have experienced. He had no brain activity. He was basically dead. And but yet he went through this incredible journey. And he explained that when he died, he went into this reality, okay? And he said that this reality was very, very crisp. It wasn't dreamlike. A lot of people feel like the afterlife is very dreamy. It's kind of a dream. It's kind of foggy. You can see through everything, right? Eben Alexander, his explanation of it was quite the opposite. He was explaining a reality, and he said this, a reality that was more real than Earth. He even said, he went as far as to say that this afterlife experience that he had was more real, and Earth-like existence was more dreamlike in comparison. I mean, that blows my mind. That absolutely blows my mind. I can't, my brain can't even wrap my head around that. That is so weird to me. And so he went on to explain that, he didn't have a body. He was just kind of essentially like a ball of consciousness riding on a butterfly, of all things, through these gorgeous green valleys, and everything just came alive. And he said that, as he was going through this beautiful, lush atmosphere, he experienced things differently. Like on Earth, it's visual, it's scent, it's hearing, right? He said in that whole afterlife, it was completely different. You become things. So you don't just look at the flower, you become the flower. And the music, you can feel the music. It's tangible. What he described was absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. And coming from a brain surgeon, a guy who didn't believe in any of this stuff, that was very science-based, and when you're dead, and that's the only thing that happens. After he went through this near-death experience, this afterlife experience, he completely changed his tune. And he now he's an advocate for it. He goes around the country talking about his afterlife experience. But I just found that very fascinating. How we have this conception of the afterlife of being so dreamy. It's so not quite reality, but what he is saying is it's more real. It's more crisp. It's more real than what we experience here on Earth. And that just blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. And, in my opinion, I do believe in an afterlife. I'm not part of any organized religion, but I do believe in a higher power. I do believe in a creator. And I do believe our souls go on beyond this physical existence. I do believe that. And I just found his experience to be very interesting and encouraging, Oh, and another thing he touched upon was, there's no, well, and this is from his account, so if you're Christian or Catholic, please don't take offense to this. But from his account, he was saying there really is no hell, per se. Basically, the hell you experience, the judgment you get, in the afterlife for doing bad things is through that life review. Okay, and basically what he described the life review as was, when you go up, you experience your life from beginning to end, but you experience it through the feelings and the emotions of the people you've encountered along the way. So if you had a life handing out insults and torment and hurting people, you're going to experience your life in that life review through those people. And you're going to feel the pain that those people had when you hurt them. Okay? And likewise, if you had a life lifting people up and being positive, you're going to have that you're going to feel them and their positivity as they experienced it. So you kind of create your own heaven or hell, so to speak, in that life review. Depending on the life you lived, kind of dictates what kind of life review experience you're going to have. So a terrible person, a dictator who murders people and is vicious and cruel, they don't get away with that in the afterlife necessarily. They got to go through that life review and experience all that pain unto themselves. Okay? Now, they're not going to be damned to hell for eternity, according to Eben Alexander, but they will experience a lot of pain during that life review. So that's very interesting. That was another interesting factor in his experience. Overall, really cool stuff. Check him out. His name is Eben, E-B, like boy, A-N, Alexander. He has a ton of videos on YouTube. He's got a book out, the whole thing. Fascinating story. And there's so much more to it than I touched upon here, but check him out when you can. It's really, really awesome. But what do you guys think about the afterlife? Do you think that our soul goes on? Do you think that there is an afterlife? Do you not believe in that? What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on the story about Eben Alexander, this neurosurgeon who died and went on this incredible odyssey, for something that beyond his imagination? What are your thoughts on that? So I'd love to hear from you guys. Thank you all so much for watching the second episode of Curiosity. And as always, have a wonderful day.